Hi, guess what? First of all, welcome back to my channel. Another historical fiction book set in World War II and about code breakers. So if you're watching my videos on this channel, then you might know that I also reviewed The Librarian Spy by Madeline Martin. Well, this is The Codebreaker Secret by Sara Ackerman. It's the third book that I have read by her, and it's also the third five-star book I have read by her. I'm gonna check here. I know I read Radar Girls, but the other one I do have, Red Sky over Hawaii. Now, I don't know about Red Sky over Hawaii, but this book I noticed something right away. What I noticed in this book is that Hawaii is with like what we would call an apostrophe, but I think it's called the Akono or Akoni. I should have written that down, but you know me, I don't write things down. Well, I am going to try to do it justice to natives of our 50th state. Hawaii? Yes. That's one thing I loved about Codebreaker Secret. Another thing I liked about it is, of course, the setting was in Hawaii, but we have very, very sensitive circumstances. First of all, Pearl Harbor has taken place. The attack on Pearl Harbor has already taken place. It is now 1943 and the war is in full throttle. And we also have 1965. So what we have in this book is a dual timeline story that centered around the events of that war. Now, in 1943, we have Isabel Cooper, and she and her Codebreaker colleagues are working in the dungeon, okay, deep underground, deciphering or creating codes and trying to decipher anything, especially things coming down from Japan, okay? And Isabel has kind of a motive, I would say, if I can use that word, and that is to avenge her brother's death. Her brother meant everything to her because they lost their parents when she was young, and her brother took care of her. He, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, and I've read two historical fiction books back to back, if I'm not mistaken, they were both very, very, very smart, and they were both ready to go to college. And he promised her that he could afford to send her to college. Well, as it turned out, there was only enough money to send her to college. So he joined the military, and then he lost his life. And he actually lost his life at the bombing of Pearl Harbor. What is it, Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I'm going to mix up my history here, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to disrespect the hard work that Sara Ackerman put into this book. So, again, Japanese have naval codes that they're sending and continually to drop bombs, and Isabel's job is to decipher those codes to stop the Japanese and working really hard. Now, she meets his best friend who, her brother wrote a lot of letters. I mean, they constantly corresponded. And she wanted to meet his best friend after his death, after her brother's death, to just learn a little bit more about what happened to him. And then his best friend tells her how they woke up that morning and the bombs had dropped, and some of the pilots, jumped in jumped into the cockpit to fight, and her brother was one of the ones that lost his life. Then we also find out one other thing about her brother's friend. But the thing is, you don't really find that out till kind of in the second half of the book, so we won't talk about that other than to say that he had his own secrets. And I'm going to leave it at that. But remember I said that this was a dual timeline story, so now our dual timeline story, we have a journalist, her name is Lou Freitas, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Now she comes home to Hawaii to cover the grand opening of a glamorous, it's called the Mauna Kea Beach Hotel. Okay, I'm not clear on the pronunciation of that hotel. Well, in this hotel, a profile guest goes missing, so now Lou becomes an investigator and working on this. Now, she's a journalist that gets no glory because it's 1965 and she wasn't respected. But she forms an unlikely alliance with a veteran photographer to unravel the mystery of the missing guest. Well, that connection she has with this photographer goes back to those days of World War II. And going back to those days of World War II, what does it do? It brings about history and secrets and things that pertain to that code breaking. And that's why the book is called The Codebreaker Secret. Really, really, really powerful, powerful, good book. One that proved I'm just going to shut my door. That's the thing, if I close my office door, then in my videos, you'll hear my cats crying on the other side of the door. I've played back a couple of my videos only to hear the loud crying. So I leave the door cracked and then they open it and hubby's got the TV on the other side. So anyway, so that's the reason that I restarted this book review video. So as mentioned, you have this fantastic research that Sara Ackerman did in this book. And the thing is, she lives there in Hawaii, so she knows all the little cities and towns and how immersive Hawaii is. And what I like about it is you can picture yourself there, even during the tragic time of World War II, or whether it was 1965. And in 1965, I was 4 years old, but yet you can still picture yourself there. You really can. And if you like historical fiction and you like history that brings you right into the thick of things, that makes you feel that you are part of whatever is happening in the story, then Codebreaker Secret will do that to you. Now, if you like then and now, dual timeline stories, then this is also a win for you. And then the last thing I'll say is the connection between 1943 and 1965. What is the string that connects those two timelines together? And then as you find out what brings those two timelines together, then you can see the importance of this book. So I really love Sara Ackerman. I like the style that she uses when she writes her books. I like how she brings these characters, the scenery, the situation, the trauma, the sadness, all full circle when you read her books. So that is The Codebreaker Secret. I want to thank you for watching. Bye-bye.